Have you ever wondered why your mind never rests? Why it always seems to be fighting something unseen? Have you ever felt like you carry the weight of the world on your back, even though you don't know exactly what it is? Today I want to share a secret with you. Maybe you're carrying burdens that aren't yours, burdens that can be released if you know how. What would happen if you could actually rest? If you could feel the ease of living without so much pressure? Stay with me to the end because I'm going to show you how to find real relief. Not just temporary relief, but a peace that transforms, frees, and renews your soul. It's not just a video, it's an invitation to change your life. Have you ever noticed how some days your mind seems heavier than your body? As if every thought is an extra weight, an anchor that keeps you from moving forward? Often the burden we carry is not really ours, but the result of expectations, fears, or responsibilities that we accept without question. How often have you taken on other people's problems, or tried to solve everything yourself, believing that you have to do it all? Imagine someone who decides to walk down a long road carrying a backpack full of stones. Each stone represents a worry, a painful memory, or even an expectation that has been placed on him. He never asked why he was carrying so much weight. He just accepted it. Now think, have you done the same? Isn't it time to open that backpack and find out what really needs to be there? When I said that the kingdom of heaven is within everyone, I wanted to show that true freedom and peace come from within, not from without. But to experience that peace, you need the courage to look at what is weighing you down. Often you take on burdens that don't belong to you, whether out of guilt, fear of disappointment, or even not knowing that you can choose what you carry. I've seen many people live like this, believing they have to carry the world on their shoulders. But there is a higher calling, an invitation to let go of unnecessary weight. Understanding that you don't have to struggle alone is the first step to a lighter heart. When you begin to discern what is truly yours to carry, you realize something wonderful. There is an accessible peace, a sustaining strength. And in this discovery, there is something even deeper to understand. For what would this freedom to be truly at rest look like? Often it feels like you are fighting to survive. Every day feels like a battle, and your heart carries the weight of so many things: responsibilities, frustrations, fears that drain your energy. It's like rowing against an endless current, where you believe that if you stop, everything will fall apart. But is this how life is supposed to be? Is this what the Father wanted for His children? I want you to stop for a moment and think, where is your confidence? Is it in the strength of your arms, in what you can control? Or is it in the divine provision that never fails? For I tell you, there is a rest for those who choose to trust. It's not a rest that takes away your responsibilities, but one that transforms the way you carry them. When I said that the Father cares even for the birds of the air and the lilies of the field, I meant that there is a natural balance in the universe. You were created to live in harmony with that care, not to fight against it. But the choice to rest in that love is up to you. You must let go of the reins of fear, stop trying to control what is beyond your reach, and make room for grace to act. Constant struggle is not a sign of strength, but of lack of faith. True strength comes when you recognize your limitations and surrender your worries to the one who knows best. When you do this, something incredible happens. The weight lifts, peace grows, and solutions that once seemed impossible begin to emerge. And so you discover that resting is not giving up, but trusting. It's giving up the need to fight for everything and allowing divine care to sustain you. For in doing so, you find not only relief, but a lightness that prepares you for something even greater, understanding why the burden often seems so heavy. Often the weight you feel doesn't come from what's outside, but from what's inside. Repetitive thoughts, accumulated emotions, and beliefs that you carry around with you as if they were absolute truths can turn even the simplest day into an exhausting struggle. But have you ever stopped to consider why these burdens seem so unbearable? Some of the weight you feel is the result of old patterns that have become so ingrained in your mind that you don't even realize they're there. Perhaps someone told you that you weren't good enough, that you needed to do more, be more, to deserve love or approval. And without question, You took it as fact. But I'm telling you, those words do not define who you are or what you have to carry. Then there are the emotions that you repress and try to ignore, but that continue to weigh you down. The anger you never expressed, the forgiveness you never granted, the fear you insist on masking. All of this is like carrying invisible rocks in your heart. You can't see them, but you feel their weight with every step you take, with every new challenge that seems bigger than you can bear. And what about expectations? How often do you try to please everyone, to solve everything, to be everything to everyone, only to find that the more you try, the more unsatisfied you feel? This race to meet standards that aren't even yours distances you from the rest that the Father offers. After all, who says you have to prove anything to deserve love or acceptance? When I said, "My yoke is easy and my burden is light," I wanted to show that there is another way to live. You don't have to carry everything yourself. But to experience that, you have to recognize the burdens you have taken on and ask yourself, is this really mine? Is this something I was called to carry or something I accepted out of fear or guilt? And as you begin to release these burdens, something extraordinary happens. You realize that there is a call, an invitation to rest in something greater. For that is the true source of relief. Understanding that you are not alone and that there is a place where you can find rest and renewed strength. Have you ever felt like your mind would never turn off? Like every day is a race with no finish line? This feeling of constant fatigue isn't just physical. It's the soul yearning for rest, seeking a safe place to breathe without the weight of worry and expectation. When I said, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest," I wasn't just offering a moment of temporary relief. I was calling you to a deeper transformation, a way of life in which rest is a continuous state, even in the midst of life's storms. This rest comes not from the absence of problems, but from the confidence that you are cared for. Often what prevents us from experiencing this rest is a resistance to letting go of control. You are taught to believe that you must solve everything, that depending on something greater is a sign of weakness. But I tell you, trusting in the love of the Father is the greatest demonstration of strength anyone can have. It's recognizing that there is a divine care that sustains all things, including you. Rest is more than lying down and waiting for things to work out. It's an inner attitude of surrender, of understanding that you don't have to fight it all alone. When you choose to rest in the Father's care, something inside you begins to settle. Peace replaces anxiety, and the weight that seemed unbearable begins to lift. This rest, however, is not something you have to earn. It's already there, waiting for you to accept it. It is the place where your soul finds renewal, where worry gives way to confidence, and where you discover that it is possible to live more easily, more freely. And when you find that lightness, you begin to understand what it really means to trust and let go of control. Holding on to the reins of everything around you may seem like the only way to maintain order in your life. But have you noticed how it drains you? Trying to control every detail, to predict every outcome, often leads to frustration and anxiety. There's a greater invitation for you, to let go of control and to trust. But what does trust really mean? Trust is giving up the need to predict every step and surrendering to the certainty that there is a greater power guiding everything. When I spoke of the Father's care, I wanted to show you that you are not alone in this journey. The one who gives life to the universe knows what you need before you even ask. In order to experience this, however, you must let go of the hands that hold your worries so tightly. This doesn't mean abdicating responsibility or acting carelessly. It means acting with faith, knowing that there is a purpose in every circumstance, even if we don't fully understand it. It means knowing that you don't have to carry it all alone, that there is unwavering support for those who trust. I've seen many cling to control out of fear of losing, fear of failing, fear of not being enough. But that fear actually takes you away from the peace you seek. When you choose to trust, fear loses its power and a new clarity begins to emerge. Fear gives way to certainty, and steps that once seemed uncertain become firmer. Surrendering to trust is like being carried by the waters of a river. You don't lose direction. On the contrary, you discover that the path has already been lovingly mapped out. And when you let go of the reins of control, you find something surprising. A peace that doesn't depend on circumstances, a certainty that sustains your soul. Anxiety is like a storm in the mind, where thoughts spin endlessly, creating scenarios that almost never happen. Have you ever felt like you're trapped in a cycle you can't control? The good news is that there is peace, a peace that interrupts this storm and brings calm to the heart. This peace is not found in quick fixes or momentary distractions, but in something much deeper. It is the certainty that you are cared for, that you don't have to figure it all out on your own. When I said, "My peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you," I wasn't talking about something external, but about a calm that is born within you when you choose to trust in the Father's care. Anxiety often comes from trying to predict the future or correct the past, forgetting that the only thing you really have is the present moment. When you choose to live in the now and make room for the peace that comes from the divine, you discover that there is far less to fear than you imagined. This presence in the moment gives you the strength to face what previously seemed impossible. Understand that peace does not eliminate challenges, but transforms the way you face them. It gives you the clarity to make decisions without being overwhelmed by fear or doubt. When you connect with this peace, your mind slows down, your emotions calm, and you begin to see possibilities where before you saw only problems. And true peace is not something you have to achieve. It's already there, waiting to be received. As you make room for it, fear loses its power, and a new confidence begins to grow within you. This confidence, in turn, prepares you for a new way of living where the burdens that once seemed so heavy begin to be transformed. How many times have you felt trapped in the story of your life, as if every mistake, every loss, every wound were unchangeable chapters in a book that can't be rewritten? But I tell you, your story doesn't have to end the way it began. There is a grace that transforms and renews, that takes the heaviest burdens and turns them into opportunities to begin again. Imagine a person who has spent years trying to carry the expectations of their family, the mistakes of the past, and the frustrations of the present. This person felt suffocated, as if there was no way out. But one day, when she chose to let go of these burdens, she realized that her story wasn't written in stone. As time went on, she saw that as she turned her worries over to the Father, the pages of her life began to be rewritten with new colors, colors of hope and freedom. Grace is not something you earn. It is a gift given. It is the power that transforms pain into learning, mistakes into growth, and burdens into lightness. When you choose to live under this grace, you realize that you are not limited by what has already happened. You are called to be a new creation, someone who lives in freedom, no longer bound by the chains of the past. This transformation happens when you choose to see difficulties not as punishments, but as opportunities to grow. When you realize that even the most difficult moments can become a testimony of overcoming and faith. Every time you choose to trust, to forgive, or to let go, you allow grace to rewrite your story. And as you live under that grace, you begin to experience something even more profound, the richness of a lighter life, where the hands that once held the burdens are now open to receive. Have you ever stopped to think that sometimes your hands are so full that they can't hold anything more? Holding on to what no longer serves, insisting on what should be left behind, can prevent you from receiving the new that the Father has to give you. Living with empty hands doesn't mean losing out. It means making room for what really matters. Think of a person who has so many unnecessary things in a bag that there is no room for anything useful. This is how many people live, accumulating hurts, fears, old beliefs, and wondering why they feel so tired. But when you choose to let go, something extraordinary happens. Not only do you feel relief, but you discover a new ease that allows you to go on and live more fully. Jesus never asked you to carry it all alone. He offered something different. A life of trust, where letting go of what weighs you down is an act of faith, not an act of giving up. Letting go means letting go of what's holding you back, whether it's the pain of the past or the desire to control the future. It means trusting that by letting go, you are allowing something bigger and better to occupy that space. By letting go of the unnecessary, you begin to see the richness of what really matters. Relationships become more meaningful, opportunities become clearer, and your heart becomes lighter. This is true prosperity, living a life where you are filled with the peace, love, and joy that comes from connecting with the divine. And when you live like this, you discover that this lightness is not just for you, but something that overflows to those around you. Your peace inspires others to seek the same rest. Your ease invites others to let go of their burdens. And by living this way, you experience something even more precious, a permanent relief that transforms not only your life, but also the paths of those around you. What if I told you that the relief you so desperately seek is not a fleeting moment, but something that can change your life forever? The rest that the Father offers is not a temporary break from struggle, but a complete change in the way you live and see the world. Imagine a traveler who for years carries a heavy suitcase without realizing that it contains more stones than useful things. When he finally decides to open the suitcase and leave the stones behind, he realizes that what he really needed was always within reach, but hidden under the weight he insisted on carrying. So it is with you. True rest begins when you choose to let go of what you no longer need. This invitation is not to abandon your journey, but to walk more lightly. It is a call to trust, to let go of your worries, and to live in the knowledge that you are not alone. When you accept this invitation, your soul is renewed, and the peace that seemed so far away becomes part of your daily life. And the best part is that this rest doesn't depend on external circumstances. It is not tied to what you have, what you do, or what others think of you. It is a peace that comes from knowing that you are unconditionally loved and cared for in every detail of your life. Today I invite you to take the first step toward that peace. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and give to the Father whatever is weighing on your heart. Tell Him what troubles you, what hurts you, and allow that peace to flood your being. For this is the promise, a rest that is not fleeting, but permanent, that transforms not only your present, but the path you choose to walk from now on. Remember, you are not called to live burdened, but to walk with ease and purpose. The relief you so desperately seek is not far away or out of reach. It has already been offered to you in the love that never fails, the grace that transforms, and the peace that surpasses all understanding. The Father doesn't just want to lighten your burdens. He wants to free you completely so that you can live fully, with a light heart and hands ready to receive. Make this choice today. Trust, surrender, and discover that there is a greater power that supports each step you take. May your path be illuminated. May your heart find rest, and may you experience the peace that already dwells within you. You are not alone. Go and live with this certainty.